This edition of MacVoices is brought to you by Squarespace. Everything you need to create an exceptional website. For a free trial and 10% off your first purchase on new accounts, go to squarespace.com/MacVoices and use the offer code MacVoices3. Welcome to MacVoices. This is the talk of the Mac community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, it's that time again where we get to talk to Mike Horton and Dan Bérubé about an upcoming Final Cut SuperMeet, or is it now Creative Pro SuperMeet, gentlemen? I better get that right.
Actually, we call it the Las Vegas SuperMeet.
The Las Vegas SuperMeet. Okay, well, that's good.
Yeah, presented by the CPUG network. I mean, we basically call the SuperMeets whatever city we're doing them in. So the last one was the San Francisco SuperMeet, the other one was the Boston SuperMeet, and this one is the Las Vegas SuperMeet, and we're soon to be announced the UK SuperMeet or the London SuperMeet. Dan and I will have to come up with a compromise on what we're going to call it. We could call it the London SuperMeet, but we want to have everybody from the UK come, so we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Excuse me, I'm taking a sip.
Then after that, we're going to do the Lake Titicaca SuperMeet. Yeah. I'm just kidding.
And what city do you live in, Chuck? We're going to do yours, by the way.
Harrisburg. Yes, we'll be
the
at
Harrisburg
the Harrisburg
SuperMeet.
There we go. That's exactly
at Chuck's house, right there.
Sure. By that time, I'll have my desk cleaned up.
Hey, by the way, hey, Dan, did you know that it's Chuck's birthday today?
Oh, thanks.
It is. Not only did I know, because I got on Skype, it says, every time someone's birthday happens, a little cake appears and whatnot. And then I also saw it on Facebook. So I think at 1 o'clock in the morning last night, I wished you a happy birthday on Facebook. So,
well, I appreciate it.
And Chuck, not only happy birthday, but I made you a card. Congratulations. And both Dan and I think you really have a pathetic life spending your birthday with us tonight.
Right, exactly.
What
are you doing? You should be out. Why are you talking to us?
Well, hey, you want to celebrate with friends and with interesting people, and I can't think of two better friends and more interesting people.
Hold on just 1 second.
Uh-oh.
Pshaw.
This is a little scary. Dan.
Yeah, I think he brought it to you. Oh, there we go.
That's the balloon, too.
All right, here we go.
Let it float around while we talk. Here we go.
Hey, Chuck, it's your birthday.
All right.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, let's have it right above my head here.
Okay. If there's anyone still listening at this point.
Are you kidding? Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This is great.
Thank you. It is, and it is a great way to celebrate, to talk to you two and about an event that has become kind of a very long-standing thing. And we've talked about it plenty of times before, the way you two have really stretched this out beyond just the confines of one city and one location, take it all over the world.
Yeah, it's only because there's a demand for this sort of thing. I mean, everything is changing, which is what we have up on the website where you buy your tickets, and we're trying to keep up with all those changes, as are you, and the demands of people and the competition with the virtual world, and our whole mandate of just trying to get people out of the house into these kinds of networking events is always a challenge. But there is somewhat a demand all over the world. It's not just Vegas or San Francisco or Boston or Harrisburg. It's all over the place. And if people want us, and we hope they do, we would love to go there and at least give you some experience of what these super meets are all about.
Well, we are definitely the big thing about Vegas is that we are back at the Rio. And that's pretty exciting for us. We consider the Rio to be our home in Vegas right now. It used to be, when we started out, what was it? The one that we used to be at, the Stardust. There we go.
Yeah, but I wasn't fond of that place.
No, but Wayne Newton did perform the last night we were there, so that was interesting.
That was the super meet. The last super meet we did at the Stardust was the last night that Wayne Newton performed at the Stardust.
And then they tore the building down.
And then they blew it up.
Let's see. So was it Wayne or was it you that did the Stardust in?
Well, it was. I don't know. That was a show that was kind of a disaster too, right? That one. We had a lot of problems that night. That was. We'll have to tell you a few stories. That was back in those
definitely ghosts in the cables. There was some ghosts in the cabling.
Oh, yeah, that's always
exactly.
Let's put it this way: it's one of those things where we back then we were very much grassroots in terms of what we were doing together, and we've come a long way. After that, Apple brought us across the street to the strip, and we were doing what's it called? The Venezia? No,
yeah, we did one at the Venetian.
Venetian. There we go. And Mandalay Bay, and all those wonderful hotels, and so that was interesting. And and we are again back at the Rio, and we've got a wonderful lineup that I really think is going to represent what's happening in the industry right now.
Yeah, we can't really talk about the agenda so much, only because, as you know, with SuperMeets, we don't announce the agenda until shortly before the event, and then that's especially for Las Vegas, because the companies and some certain products and things are not announced until shortly before the event. So everything is what we call super secret right now. And then we urge people to buy the tickets soon and not wait for the agenda, because once they hear the agenda, then they really want to go. And by that time, most of the tickets are gone. The Las Vegas SuperMeet always sells out. And it's the biggest event of all the SuperMeets of the year. So
yes. It's kind of neat because, we're doing it through Eventbrite, and it's tied to my account, my email. So, every 5 minutes, I get someone, this person bought a ticket, this person bought a ticket, and it's kind of fuels us, because sometimes I'll call Mike, or Mike will text me, or I'll text him. Someone just bought a ticket. Someone just bought a ticket, but it keeps going up and up and up and up, and then suddenly the whole event's sold out, and then we have an awesome evening.
Yeah.
Well, I've tried at times to wait until you've made those final announcements, and we can never.
And a lot
put
of people
schedules.
do, and we certainly understand that.
Yeah. No. I'm talking about just to get you two on the show. And then the scheduling. By that time you're both driving yourselves crazy with all the details. So that's why I like to try to get you on a little bit early and encourage people to take what you can give us now, look back at what was done in the past, and know that this is someplace you want to be.
So, Chuck, when is this podcast going to go live? Because right now we have early bird tickets still going through March 12th. And if you have that on, one of the great things we want to let people know is that they have until March 12th to get early bird tickets before the prices go up.
I'll make sure this gets out well before the 12th, so people have a chance to react.
Yeah, so that's the big thing right now about, is that we're pushing to let people know that the tickets are on sale now. They'll be on sale through right up to the event, but take advantage, people, if you're listening, that before March 12th, you can get your tickets for $10, and you can save your money and put that towards raffle tickets or drinks at the event. And then students are $7 for anyone.
No, they're actually $10, but they'll stay $10. They won't go up.
They are $10. They will not go up. And I encourage any student going to NAB to be part of this community on Tuesday, April 9th at the Rio Hotel, the Las Vegas SuperMeet.
That's I'm going to say something about that student thing, because there's always a little bit of confusion about this. Can students go to the Rio Hotel to a SuperMeet? Do they have to be over 21? No, they don't. They just can't buy drinks, but they can go to the SuperMeet. There are a lot of events that the under 21s can't go to at NAB, but the SuperMeet is an event that under 21 can go to, and we encourage all students and teachers. Teachers also get a discount to come to the SuperMeet, and because these are the people that need to keep on top of everything that is happening and all the changes will be there, not only on stage but at that vendor showcase that we have prior to the SuperMeet and during the SuperMeet. So it's really important for anybody who's interested in storytelling digitally on the Mac especially to, if they have the time and if they have the will, get to Vegas, go to NAB. You'll learn so much. But more importantly, you'll meet people that, like we've said before, are going to change your life.
Now, Mike, let's touch on that because I know we can't talk about exactly what will happen on the stage just yet. But this time around, you will have the exhibit hall area where people will go and talk to exhibitors, obviously, hardware and software exhibitors that are targeted toward digital storytelling. Then you will have the formal presentation part where you'll have a speaker or speakers up on stage that will be showing off things and talking about what they do and educating people as to how they do it. Is that all correct?
That's pretty much it. I mean, that is a SuperMeet, and it's what's on stage is not necessarily the most important thing, even though you're going to learn a lot by seeing what's on stage. But that area outside the stage, where all the sponsors are, where they're all behind those little tables, and all those people that are gathered around all those little tables, that's what a SuperMeet is all about.
I think one of the most important things about the SuperMeet is to be there in person and to be seen by the other attendees, to be seen by those going to NAB, and to be seen by the vendors. It's definitely a gala that you want to go to as a creative professional, filmmaker, anyone that is doing any sort of content creation who is going to NAB. Pick Tuesday night to start your evening after the show floor at the SuperMeet. And there's a lot of parties on every single night, but we've come after 12 years to have Tuesday night as our night that we have our event, that we then send people on their way to all the other parties that happen that evening. So except Dan and I are too exhausted and we can't go. Right. We end up like walking off the stage with the raffle drum saying, "Exactly, I'm going back out to my room." But we get some wonderful people, like the Aja party always happens after our hours, and people always head there. And there's other little break-off things that people do and whatnot. And the Rio is great. It's very accessible, and there's always places that people can hang there as well.
MacVoices is brought to you by Squarespace, the beautiful and intuitive website publishing platform that allows anyone to create professional web pages, blogs, online stores, and galleries on a single platform. For a free trial and 10% off your first purchase on new accounts, go to squarespace.com/MacVoices and use the offer code MacVoices3. And they just launched built-in e-commerce, so you can sell digital and physical items from your website, all within the Squarespace platform. That's squarespace.com/MacVoices and the offer code MacVoices3 to get 10% off your first purchase. Put a frame around the SuperMeet in regard to NAB, which the National Association of Broadcasters show, which this is, I don't want to say part of, I guess. I don't know if it's fair to say it's part of it or it's in conjunction with.
No, it's not. It's not really, although we do work with them.
We're partners with them, actually. We're promoting a code for people to register.
Speaking of that, we should probably get that out, shouldn't we?
Absolutely. The code that people want to, if you are thinking of going to NAB and you are going to be there that week and you want to go and get a free exhibits only passcode, go to the NAB.org website and then register with passcode PR44.
And that'll get you a free one.
Yes, and that offer expires March 22nd.
Yeah, so do it.
A lot of people have been tweeting that. Larry Jordan, all of our vendors have been promoting the PR44 exhibits only passcode, and that's part of the community that drives itself to the event, to NAB. And again, the SuperMeet is a big top where people go to, and then there's still days left after our SuperMeet where they can go back to the show floor at NAB and talk to the people that they saw who were here, ask questions, say, "Hey, I saw you at the SuperMeet, or you presented, or there was this solution. I'd like to learn more about it." So it's very much a very copacetic existence.
Have you ever gone, Chuck?
To NAB?
I can't remember. Yeah,
No.
have you ever gone? You haven't?
No. No, it's one of those things that I want to get to, and prior years just haven't been able to make it.
Because you'd really enjoy it. I mean, I think you'd really enjoy it because you're a gearhead, and you're also get into this kind of stuff, and you're now a digital storyteller, and it's not so geeky that you would not get something out of it. And then plus, it is just another chance to come face to face with a lot of those people that you have talked to and that you admire, and instead that you've always just had a relationship online with, and you know how important it is to have a relationship face to face, and that's.
But I want to ask you both, and I'm glad you brought it up because it's a place I wanted to get to in this discussion. We talk so much about who should come to the SuperMeets, and I think that profile is pretty well established. When you hear NAB, you think CBS, NBC, ABC.
Yeah, broadcasting, right?
Yeah, and is that fair, or does this show go a lot farther beyond that?
No, it used to be that. It's
right.
Not, and it hasn't been that way for what, Dan, 4 or 5 years now? I mean,
especially in the last 2 years, NAB, the team at NAB has really been listening to the people that have been that they've been seeking feedback from, because NAB in a way was getting too big or maybe getting lost in the message and whatnot, and they really focused and really listened to the people that talked about. It's got to have some community environment. It's got to be about content creation. It's where the web's going, and all of that, and all forms of communication are being covered now, and very attentively at NAB. They've really changed the profile of the people that go there. So I think that's exciting.
They were all things broadcasting. Now they're all things broadcasting, indie filmmaker, digital storyteller, everybody in between. They've really, really done a wonderful job in the last few years of embracing everybody. So otherwise it would be just incredibly boring to see a bunch of satellite trucks and giant monitors and green screens of news outlets and giant storage areas and server farms. It's like, who cares? At least we don't.
Well, and that's the thing. I think that's the picture a lot of people have of NAB from years ago when that's what it was. And that's why I wanted to make sure to ask you two to talk about something for the independent filmmaker, for the independent web video creator, etc.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
NAB is the big theme at NAB is called Metamorphosis, with me in the beginning. So promoting the changing face of media and entertainment. And that very much is something that you hold in your hands, Chuck. The iPad, the iPhone, the tablets, the mobile entertainment. I learned one of our speakers that I listened to this past week at the editors retreat in Mexico, Richard Harrington, very much promoted the whole idea of mobile communication, mobile content, that all filmmakers, all storytellers should be thinking about that, because it's not going away. In fact, that leads me in a way, you're asking us what's NAB all about. And a lot of the people that present at our SuperMeets, Mike will agree on this, is they're also teaching at the Post-Production World Conference there at NAB. That's one of the parts of what you can do at NAB is go there and learn, and a lot of businesses and companies will send their employees to go and learn about the newest tool, learn about the newest NLE, learn about DaVinci Resolve color grading or whatever. There's also they've broken out their sessions now. There's even what they call TAP, which is a technologically advanced publishing, and that's really it is. Publishing is going to be more and more of a common word.
What's that? Now. What's TAP?
Technologically advanced publishing. TAP. When you touch the screen. Basically working with the iPad and
cool.
Android devices, and really this is where it's going. It's exciting. I was interested in seeing some of the members of my user group. A couple of them went to the TAP. They had an earlier TAP conference earlier in the year, and an industry veteran filmmaker friend of mine, Bruce, who's a long veteran camera guy, news, public television, whatnot, ended up going, and now he's been so enthralled with what he's learned with that he's actually now gonna he made a proposal to speak at NAB, and now he's going to be teaching a session at that TAP conference at NAB. So it's empowering. It helps people. An event like that brings like-minded people like us. We do the super meets. The people, empower themselves to come to a super meet. Then they learn about these events at NAB, and they, it's exciting to see these people who are very much into their own ways, because that's the way it worked, in holding the camera. But now the camera is a part of the iOS device, and they're learning how to use that as well.
Is Post Production World doing this TAP conference? What days are there? Where can I get more information? Because I don't know anything about this thing.
You would go to nab.org and click on NAB Show, and then click on you go to nabshow.com, and then there's under education, it lists all the different events that are happening, including Post Production World.
Is it part of Post Production World, the TAP conference?
Yes.
Okay, is it happening on
got,
SuperMeet Day, which we can't go, or can we go like Monday or Wednesday or?
The Post Production World starts on Saturday and continues.
Yeah, I know that.
Interesting.
Oh, I'm sorry, Chuck. I'm just really interested in this. I would like to see more of it.
No,
this is something that it all ties together. Because again, a lot of the people that would come and present on our stage are also doing similar complementary things on the show floor through the post-production world, through being special speakers in the Autodesk booth or in the Avid booth or in the the Adobe booth or the Blackmagic booth or the Aja booth. They all have those speakers there, and it's very communal on different levels.
Yeah, we now have a professional editor on the iPad, which is called Touch Edit. It just was released a few weeks ago. And this is probably the first professional. I mean, it depends on how you look at it. But it is to Dan and I's eyes and ears. We've seen it, and it's been demoed at both of our user group meetings, as well as the San Francisco Super Meet. This is a professional editor on the iPad. And you can, it's amazing. And all that stuff is happening right now, and everything is going in that direction. And we are part of this whole new world of exciting mobile edit and hot tub sort of stuff. It's really very exciting.
I think you should add some echo in your voice there, Mike, for a minute. That would have worked.
Editing in a hot tub.
We've always wanted to edit in the hot tub. So,
Dan, your comment about the iOS devices, this year I went to CES, I went to Macworld, iWorld. I was quite surprised to see the number of people doing interviews on the show floor with either an iPad or an iPhone, some kind of external mic, sometimes with a tripod, sometimes with a camera person, sometimes just doing one of these, holding it out and doing it themselves. And of course, there are these. I think iStabilizer, iPole. There's several of these things that you can hold and. So you don't see your arm sticking out. It really is.
I bought one of those.
Did you? Yeah, so did I.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to see how people are adapting to this, and they're not being afraid to try things and to get away from carrying that big camera around.
Well, we have the what was the iPad caster, which we'll have at the Super Meet.
I was just going to say, it's actually the Padcaster,
or Padcaster.
It's called Josh at Manhattan Edit Workshop, Josh Apter, had created this. He's a typical person that believes in this whole iOS filmmaking. Took it upon himself with this idea that he had in his head to put an iPad in a frame that you can put on a monopod, and then not only film but edit and then upload to the web at the same time. And he started off with a picture frame that he got at an art frame store, rigged it with gaff tape or whatever he did, and then showed that as a proof of concept. Now it's available for $149, and it's a very, it's a nice device that you can actually attach SLR lenses to with an additional adapter.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. And actually, they when Dan Lebenthal, Mike was just talking about Touch Edit, came to the Boston user group just last month to talk about Touch Edit. Josh Apter sent a couple Padcasters there to show the people, and actually made that connection. And Dan and Josh met and talked about that. Now they're going to be using the touch edit at the Vegas SuperMeet along with the Padcaster to do interviews at the SuperMeet. So they'll be there. They'll be having a table there as well. So I don't remember where this all started because you asked me a question about iOS. But
it's like Dan and I said, we got to have more iOS stuff at SuperMeets, and not only in the vendor showcase area, because everything is going there, and it's not only wonderful eye candy, it's stuff that people really want to use, and once they see it, they will use it, and on stage too. It's like
at San Francisco, we had 2 iOS presentations. We had Adam Welt talking about his Cinemeter application.
Yeah, incredible.
And touch edit. And so that's going to continue. You're going to see that more. And we know that every NAB is kind of like an Olympics where new technology gets revealed and whatnot. And then it trickles through the year, and then the next one happens. But you're going to
kind of like 3D.
3D, which hopefully we're not going to hear anything about this year at anything. But I'm sure we will. But
I want to go back, though. You all have always been great supporters of the student population and encouraging them to come to the SuperMeet, trying to make it affordable, recognizing you guys have bills to pay. And I can't help but ask you to comment on some of the development of iOS devices and some of these tools. There was a time that schools invested a lot in video cameras, and it was a big deal, and they were doing a great job getting kids in front of cameras, getting them comfortable with it, letting them learn a little about production. Now, heck, every kid can have a studio in his pocket, and the opportunities these kids have is just staggering.
Well, I have very, very unhumbled opinions about film school and what they're teaching, and I'm sure Dan does too, but that gets into a whole different kind of conversation here. But kids adapt to whatever they're given, and certainly, a recent documentary that was up for an Academy Award, Searching for Sugar Man, most of that documentary was shot on an iPhone, not an iPhone 5, it was an iPhone 3 and 4 or something like that. And if you saw the documentary on the big screen, it looked great. It was fine.
Yep.
So it's and kids embrace whatever is out there and whatever is going to allow them to tell their story, and especially the ones who just are not listening to the old boys teaching the old rules. There are no rules anymore.
Well, every kid has either an iPhone or an Android. And those devices shoot video. You can edit video, but what people also take pictures. But don't forget, there's also video light on that phone. So I see sometimes we're in a restaurant or in an area at school, and I happen to be a big fan of film school. I mean, I'm a Emerson alumni, Emerson College alumni. I hold all my meetings there. They get it there. Some schools don't. They get it. But I see these students are all like 4 or 5 of them together, shooting video. A couple of them will be doing 3-point lighting with their iPhones, turning on the video mode with with the flashlight on, cool. And suddenly they're positioning the lighting and someone's filming, and then Chuck, you're right. I mean, and Mike, you're right. This is all really it's transposing into a new realm of content creation that involves different roles for people and students to learn. It's so much more accessible. When I went to college, I was shooting on Super 8 film, editing on a Squawk box, cement slices, gang synchronizers, and it was very tedious. I remember one of the projects we had was taking a 16 millimeter film and creating an animated film, no editing, but taking Sharpies and drawing on it and then projecting that.
Yeah.
What you can do now with the software programs on the iPhone, iPad to create the same thing is amazing. I mean, who'd have thought, except us kids when we were little, dreaming of this stuff.
Yeah.
And now we're doing it. This is a special year. There's a lot happening that we don't necessarily.
Yeah, and it's still all changing.
Taken a lot for granted.
It's wonderful. It's just really it's exciting, and it always is. Every year is exciting. You think you reached a peak? It's just everything is still moving forward.
And if you're a student out there, go and just search a video editor or just search a video in the App Store. We talked to the people from Global Delight at Macworld iWorld, and I believe theirs is Game Your Video or Game My Video. I forget which, but I'll have it in the show notes. It's free. Now, it's not the most sophisticated thing.
Game Your Video?
Game Your Video or Game My Video by Global Delight. And it's great because they include some effects. Obviously, they have to make money too, so there's some in-app effects you can buy. But it does allow limited cutting and editing and, of course, publishing to YouTube.
Oh, cool.
It's free. So, start and play with this and then work your way up. You don't have to invest in Final Cut Pro 10. You don't even have to invest in, what is it, Touch Edit? I'm not familiar with that one yet. I have to check that out.
Touch Edit is only $49.
It's something that you can graduate to.
Exactly.
Is what it is,
exactly.
The virtual college.
And, of course, there's that little thing that Apple provides called iMovie. That is not to be sneezed at. So.
Absolutely, it's iMovie is very powerful, as is all the NLEs. You got Lightworks now, which is only PC, although they're going to announce a Mac version or show a Mac version at NAB. And but Lightworks has been around forever. Very few people have used it, but it's an extremely powerful nonlinear editor. But it is available for free. So there isn't anything better than free. If you have no money, download Lightworks and start playing with it. So there are free out there, but this one is real powerful. It's just been around for a number of years, but it's now moving to the Mac. But the Windows version is pretty stable. They have a Linux version in beta. The Mac version, I think, is an alpha. So again, all this stuff is changing. All the tools are given to you either free or affordable, and so there's no excuses. You have all this stuff right at your fingertips. Do something, change the world with this stuff.
Right, the fingertips is very. It's a good segue because getting back to that whole thing about the students and whatnot, the kids have a film school in their pocket with these iPhones because all the software is there. There's free apps to record audio. I would suggest students start interviewing each other by recording audio, then listening to it. Listen to the questions that you asked. Listen to the answers that were given. And that will help you to be a visual storyteller. And then start shooting these quick videos using those free software that you've talked about. There's script writing programs that you can get on the iPhone and iPad. There's storyboarding applications you can get.
There's plugins so you don't even have to do half the work yourself. You just throw the plug in.
Take pictures, make slideshows, tell a story, add audio to it. I mean, it's an exciting world, and it's as long as you've charged that device, and you got batteries going for it. That's the big thing now. Is you can go for a good amount of time. And what's exciting for me is that you're seeing so much video around the planet now. You're seeing that communal story, the digital campfire. You're just seeing that all over. That's what's exciting to me. I think that's what's exciting to Mike. That's what we're trying to embody in the SuperMeets. There's these big presenters and whatnot. What it comes down to is that people getting together to tell a story. And on that stage is that campfire. And that's what's exciting.
I agree completely. And fellas, to wrap up, I want to compliment you in something and remind folks of something that they may have forgotten or may not know about. There's no substitute for going and attending a SuperMeet, shaking hands, pressing the flesh, all that interaction. But you all have done a great job of sharing a lot of at least the stage content, what can be shared on YouTube, which I commend you for. And it's a place that, since we're talking to students right now, go to the show notes here on MacVoices. I'll have a link to the SuperMeet YouTube channel. Go and look at some of those presentations, get a flavor for what's there, and then when the time comes and you can afford it, it's why you're going to want to go.
Yeah, speaking of that, we did make a decision a couple of years ago after we tried, and then we didn't want to. Well, we thought we don't live stream super meets, and there's a reason for that. It is because you really need to get out of the house and press the flesh and meet one another. It's really, really easy for creative people to sit behind their computers and have relationships with everybody via Twitter or Facebook or whatever. It's very, very difficult for creative people to force themselves to get out of the house and actually get face to face with people, because creative people are normally shy. And so we made the decision, we're never going to live stream a super meet. Well, never say never, but we don't live stream. We do tape them, but we don't live stream them. And I think that's going to be probably the same for the foreseeable future. We really want you to get out of the house.
Yeah, it's a good compromise. It's a good compromise so that you share some of the content, but you encourage the attendance.
Right.
What more can you ask?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
More time with you, Chuck. That's what we asked for.
Exactly.
It's fun talking to you about this.
Hey, you guys get my juices flowing. You get me wanting to try things that I've thought about or maybe just haven't gotten to yet, and it's like, okay, I've got to put some time on the calendar and go check this program or, that technique or whatever.
Yeah, and if you can ever find a time in the early April to come to NAB, I think you'll have a great time, and you really like it. I know you go to a lot of other events but I think you'll get a lot out of going to NAB, and it is not anything about what you think it is. It's actually tailored to you and me and Dan and everybody, and you get a lot out of it.
I remember at iWorld, Chuck, I didn't see you at all anywheres or at the San Francisco SuperMeet, but on the last day, as we were walking out, I actually saw you. I think you were you were about to go on a podcast or do a podcast with exactly the type of tools that we were talking about.
Yep.
And so I can definitely see that. It'll be fun to see you at more of these events. And again, we love what you do because you get the message out there and you connect with the people that are doing it in their own way. And, I think it's exciting. I keep saying the word, but I am excited about this because this is our 12th year that we're doing this.
Yeah.
And, we thought we made it big when we did it in our 10th year. And it's going to continue with as long as people are interested in getting together and sharing stories and laughing and having a good time, that's what we'll be doing. The one thing we didn't talk about, though, that raffle, because by the time that we have the super meet, it will be over $100,000. We know.
Yeah, right now it's like over 60 or 70. We still got a month to go.
Right. I mean, that's a big kick for anyone that wants to. You can. In what better way of getting a message across about a brand or a message or a workflow solution than buy a couple tickets and stand with us at the end and have, as long as you show your appreciation and you spell your name,
exactly.
Do a couple somersaults, you could walk away with a DaVinci Resolve panel worth $40,000
or lunch with Chuck Joyner.
Oh,
Chuck, will you send us a PDF?
We could do that. If you come,
Proxy.
But it's funny, we actually raffled off live human beings at our last one.
Chuck, if you come, we'll raffle off you. It'll be huge. People will pay big money for you.
Oh yeah,
we do. We do Chuck. Jeff Greenberg. Simon. Walker.
We've auctioned off
Final
live
Cut Pro teachers, and and we get them an hour with them, and the attendees love that, and the teachers always love that because they get in the limelight again and whatnot. It's just one more way of getting their name out there, but. Again, our world-famous raffle, concludes the evening at the Super Meet, and it's big. In Vegas, it's big. And be prepared that you'll have a very good chance of winning if you come and buy tickets, etc.
Oh, boy. I got to go look at flights.
It's only money.
Yeah, it's only money.
I'll keep that in mind. Thanks. Well, to go and find more out about all this, for the SuperMeet, it's supermeet.com.
Right.
For our NAB, it's NAB Show.
Yeah, well, there's links on the
NABshow.com.
SuperMeet.
NABshow.com.
There's links on the SuperMeet page to not only to go get a free Expo Pass, buy tickets for the SuperMeet, but there's also other events that you should really look into to go to, and it'll be added to as soon as we hear about other events. We support just about every event that's going on there that has to do with digital storytellers. So there'll be links on the supermeet.com for everything. So it's a one-stop shop.
Okay. Well, then go to supermeet.com and check it out. Get your tickets before, Dan, was it March 12th? Is the Early Bird?
The March 12th is when it ends.
Okay.
That's next Tuesday.
right.
We're taping this on Wednesday, so that'll be Tuesday, March 12th. Yeah.
Okay,
And then couple that with the Expo Pass code PR44 when you register for a free exhibit pass at nabshow.com. Free exhibit hall pass, early bird tickets. You can't lose.
Yeah.
It's. I mean, it's going to be cheap.
It's only $10. Come on.
Yeah, and it's Vegas. I mean, what more do you want?
Yeah, if you like that sort of thing.
All right, we'll do a travel log on Vegas later.
Before we forget.
Thanks, Mike. Guys, thank you. You two are both nuts.
Wait a minute, I gotta.
This is always fun.
We gotta sign off.
Have a smiley
Right.
good day.
The guy with the balloon is Mike Horton. The gentleman whose video has been a little stuttery because we caught him in a hotel room in Boston. That's all I want to know is
That's
Dan
all right.
Bérubé. and they are the purveyors of the SuperMeet, this time at NAB in Las Vegas in April. Guys, thank you. We'll do it again soon.
Thank you, Chuck. See you later, Dan. Okay.
Take care. Folks, I'm Chuck Joyner. This is Mac Voices. We'll be back again soon with more interesting stuff, although I don't know how we're going to top these two tonight. Thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for links, show notes, to subscribe, to connect with Chuck on Twitter, app.net, Google+, Facebook, and for more Apple, Mac, and tech-related shows, including Mac Voices, Mac Notables, the Mac Jury, and the Mac Voices Briefing. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com.